Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more home defense testing, and today we've got a combo that several of you guys have requested to see the last time we tested this particular setup for a home defense type of scenario, and I'm definitely curious to see what it can do as well, since I think there's the potential that it can give us some surprisingly decent results, so we'll see what it can do. But as for the shells we're going to run today, I brought out some of these. The Winchester Super X 410 3-inch 5 pellet load of triple aught buck, moving about 1135 feet per second. The last time we tested 410 in particular for a home defense scenario, we tested some of the federal 410 handgun triple aught buck loads, and they were rather impressive. And a lot of you guys said, hey, test some of the standard Super X stuff and see what that can do, because you were rather surprised at what the federals were able to do. So here we go. We're going to run them and see what they're capable of. We have tested these previously in a more hunting oriented sense with some decent results if I'm remembering correctly, so we'll see what they can do up close and personal. But as for the setup we're going to run them through, I brought out my Mossberg 500 410. Technically this is the turkey edition, but all that means is it's camouflage and has screw-in chokes. It's got a 24-inch barrel on it, and for that choke we've got a cylinder bore in here, so no choke constriction at all. Even though this is a more hunting oriented shotgun type of setup here, being that it's a cylinder bore, it should give us a somewhat realistic result. If you've got a shorter cut-off barrel 410 or something like that, it should be roughly about the same. So as for today's test, everything is set up the same as usual. I've got all the targets lined up down there with some crudely spray painted body silhouettes on them. We're going to take 5 shots ranging from 7 to 25 yards. So 7, 10, 15, 20, and 25. That should give us a very good idea of what they're capable of, both in the same room, down the hallway, across the living room, out to the porch, the driveway, the shed, whatever the case would be that you might have to use this combo for a defensive scenario. 7 to 25 should about cover it. And of course, all of those shots will be through the chrono as well, so we can be getting our velocities. So let's get you guys set up with a view of those targets. We'll take our shots, and then we'll look at everything and see how our home intruders actually fared. Alright, so let's take a quick peek through our velocities. The boss claim was 1135, and we were definitely seeing that claim. So we had 1174, 1176, 1192, 1179, and 1177 for an average of 1179. So we were actually above their boss claim by a little bit from our 24-inch barrel. So looking good there. If you had a shorter barrel, you might be around their claim or just under it, which is still all plenty good enough for a triple aught buck in a home defense scenario. So they were looking good for velocity, and they were very consistent. Let's go take a look at our patterns and see how our intruders actually held up. Alright, so now we're down here at our targets, and let's take a look and see what we actually got, because things got pretty interesting as we started to step it out to a little bit farther ranges. We'll start here up close and personal, inside the house, the same room, down the hallway, whatever, with 7 and 10 yards. 7 yards, we had all 5 of them right there in a 4.5-inch spread, as well as the little base piece that struck right in the middle of the spread. We'll take a look at those here in a minute. But moving over to our 10 yards, we had 4.25 inches, which is a 1/4 inch better than 7. But still very much the same, and I would say that is within your general average tolerances here. 1/4 inch difference between 7 and 10 yards is perfectly fine, and both of those would be very effective inside your house in the same room and stuff like that. I know I definitely would not want to be standing in front of either one of those, that's for sure. So very effective up close and personal. But now we'll move over here to our 15-yard spread. We did open it up just a little bit more to 5 inches, but still kept everything nice and condensed there. I mean, that is maybe a touch larger than a baseball size spread. Out to 15 yards, I mean, that's somebody standing out in the driveway messing with your car or something, so that would still be very effective. I would not hesitate to use that combo at all if I was running a 410 for a home defense setup. Still looking great here for a spread. But now we'll move it out to our 20-yard yard target, and we definitely started to see some interesting things happen here. We had one major flyer way up here at the very top, but we kept 4 of them in a pretty nice spread down there. Those 4 pellets gave us 8.5 inches, but the overall spread, including that flyer, gave us 21.5. And you can see one of those little base pieces stuck in the paper right down there, so we'll take a look at that here in a second. But we definitely started to see some little bit funny things going on. 20 yards seems to be right on the edge of when the spread starts to kind of do whatever it wants from these shells through this particular setup. So yes, it would still be effective, but I don't know that I would really put too much trust in it once we hit this 20-yard mark. Because here's our 25-yard spread, and it's very clearly obvious that these pellets started to do whatever they felt like. We opened it up to a 26.25 inch spread, and although it might still be a, quote unquote even of a spread with how these pellets are placed on the paper, it's kind of just scattered all over the place. You got 1 above his head, 2 over here off of his right shoulder, 1 that hit center mass, and 1 that might have barely skinned him down there in the bottom with a little base gas seal strike down there too. That right there, although 1 pellet would still probably be good enough, I don't think I would trust that with my life personally. In at close ranges, these are plenty good enough. But once you hit that 20-yard mark, it sure seems like that is probably about the limit, at least through this setup with a cylinder choke. So overall, 7, 10, 15-yard patterns all look great, but we start to get a little funny out there at longer ranges. But for a home defense setup that is going to be used at almost point blank or very close to it, these are still going to do the job perfectly fine. If you're taking a 25-yard shot or more, it's got to be a very specific circumstance, and at that point, you'd probably be better off with a rifle or something anyway. So definitely some very interesting results, and if I knew that all of my shots were going to be at close range, I definitely wouldn't hesitate to use this combination, because a triple-aught buck pellet is still a triple-aught buck pellet, moving at almost 1,200 feet per second, whether it's in 12 gauge, 20 gauge, or 410 shell. It's still a triple-aught pellet at the end of the day. And here's that little base piece out of these shells. They do not use a wad like the Federals did, which I think is a big reason why they kind of scattered like that, especially out at longer ranges. This is nothing special. You can see it's got little dimples on either end. It's pretty well identical on both sides, and they're not damaged at all, but I was only able to find 1. Either way, a little bit interesting to see, and I guess it serves its purpose for sealing the gases behind the pellets and stuff like that, but I don't think it really does much as far as helping our spread or our pattern out any. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about those results right there? Definitely some pretty interesting patterns, that's for sure. Up close and personal, it's very effective, and I don't think that surprises a whole lot of people. A triple-aught pellet is still a triple-aught pellet, and from a 410 shell, you're going to have less recoil. You're going to have less pellets in the entire shell, but when your pattern is the size of your fist, even all the way out to 15 yards or so, I know I wouldn't want to be standing in front of it, and I don't think you would either. But things definitely got pretty interesting as soon as we hit this 20-yard mark. We started opening it up quite a bit with a flyer, and that just drastically opened up even farther out here at 25. Now, of course, these kind of distances are a very certain special case scenario. They technically would still be effective enough, probably, but if it were me, and if I'm running a 410 shotgun for a home defense scenario, so far, it's the Federal 410 handgun triple-aught buck loads. Those were super impressive, and they held their pattern out here at longer ranges as well. So as of right now, that's the load I'm going with, but with these being a relatively cheap and pretty readily available option, at least at a lot of the big box stores and stuff like that, if this is what you had or wanted to run, sure, it would be plenty effective inside of your house, that's for sure. But leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of these Super X 410 buckshot loads, and if so, what kind of results have you seen? Is this a combo or a setup or a shell that you would use in a home defense scenario, or would you rather just use a 12 gauge or see the spread a little bit tighter, especially out here at longer ranges, or anything like that? And what other defensive oriented shells do you want to see us test, whether it's in 12, 20, 410, whatever the case would be? Leave all your thoughts down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All the information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.